Today on the Kite Bag Tour, it's colorful quad lines. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to Skyrider Limited. I am Jesse. Today it's another Kite Bag Tour. This one is of the quad line Persuasion. I have 5 kites for you. They've been here a minute. 3 of them I actually picked up at convention, and if you're a major consumer of Skyrider related content, you may have actually seen some of them already. But it's time for a kind of closer look and a deeper dive. 3 of them are, we'll call them the more traditional shape, and 2 are some additions to my quiver of Fulcrums, and they're both kind of interesting. So we're gonna dive into the details on those. So you guys sit tight. I'm gonna put some kites together, and we will dive right back in. So, first, we have something new in my bag. It's my first true, like, art quad. That's unfair. The compass rose meshes, the shook meshes are definitely art kites. But there's something that is produced. You can order them. This is a one of one produced as art. And kind of interest on it too. This kite was made for the Kite Makers Challenge at the AKA convention this year. This kite was made by Donna Houchins. Donna has made and competed in kite making at the AKA with quads in the past. And I saw it as they were showing pictures of them and basically knew I that this was what I was bidding on at the AKA auction. I'm going to actually move out of frame so you can see the whole kite. The graphic depicts the legend of the Maid in the Mist. So convention was in Niagara Falls. And as some of you might know, the boat, the tour boat from the American side is called the Maid of Mist, and that comes from a local native legend of this woman throwing herself over the falls to be with her fallen um, partner, and the thunder god reaching out to save her. And here you can see the serpent. It's always a snake, the serpent who tempted her to throw herself over the falls. Some really cool stuff. Donna actually painted in on the purple here the scale effects of the snake. You can see him here. In general, it's got this wonderful Art Deco sort of vibe to it, aesthetic. That's the word. Art Deco aesthetic to it that I really like. I have a thing for Art Deco and mid-century modern. I saw it and instantly was in love. All of these lines are back cut pinstriping. So the fabric was supplied and the frames were supplied to the artists. The original frame in this kite, worth mentioning that I have reframed it. I flew it a couple of times. I talked to Donna a little bit. She actually recommended reframing it. The original frame in this was P400 XL, which was the sticks provided to the Kite Makers Challenge. It's a good rod. It's a little on the heavy and bouncy side for my taste in a solid sail quad. I would talk to Donna. She suggested switching that most of her stuff when she builds it are PX series tubes, P3s, P300s, 3X rather. Now, what's interesting to note about that is those original P3Xs, which were 32 and then they were only available in 31 and a half, are going away for a new generation stick. I talked to John and Marianne at Kites and Fun Things at Sky Shark. And so this kite is now framed in the new P400s. These things are like the weight of a P300. You see the new label there. They're now PX 400s, but real stiff. Really like that. Some other interesting stuff on this kite. Donna played with proportions a little bit. The center section and uprights are 32 and a half, which, by the way, it's worth noting that the new X series tubes, these PXs, are actually 33. So I did actually have to chop them to make them 32 and a half for the uprights and the center section. The outboards are still 31s like your normal quads. So it is bigger in the center and bigger vertical, but the same proportion going out, or you could look at it as being shorter going out from the upright out. It flies nice. It really does. I'm a big believer that just because something is art doesn't mean it gets hung on a wall. So this is actually living in my quad bag right now, and is traveling around as sort of my standard weight sail. Um, I will clean it and baby it a little, but I'm going to fly it because that's what kites are for, right? For flying. So yeah, ta-da, quad kite, new quad kite, and really really pretty one. Donna just did some really outstanding work in this applique. And now that it's got a little stiffer frame in it, because the nylon's a heavy material, right? Like it's a little heavier than Icarus. It's got a different behavior from from a poly sail. So having the stiffer frame in it is definitely going to up the response rate on the kite a little bit. And not that I had a problem, but it'll definitely be nicer chasing around. Stiffer kites made of Icarus on the line and stuff if it sees action for that. So, ta-da, the Maid of the Mist. I really love this thing. Donna did just such an incredible job. The part of the challenge was they only had the 4 colors: um, red, yellow, blue, and purple. Um, you know, and like to be so expressive with such a limited color palette really is just incredible. So yeah, that's kite number one. I'm gonna switch one for two, and we'll dive into the next couple of kites. A little bit of foreshadowing in the previous video, since here are my new shook meshes. The Compass Rose mesh quad is the signature kite of Flying Smiles Kites. My friends, the Shooks down in Corolla, North Carolina. These two are the latest additions. I have 4 now. So previously, I picked up. Cassie had told me previously that if you can only have, yes, cat, I hear you. If you can only have 2, you have a 75 and a 135 because they fill, the majority of the wind range. And she was right. But that didn't stop me from wanting something for when the wind got a little more ballistic and for when the wind got a little lower. So what we have here is a 40% mesh and a 175. The percentage is based on the venting amount. Excuse me. That is not a cat toy. Uh, Based on the venting level of a standard Rev 1.5. So 100%, there is a 100%, is the equivalent venting to a full vent uh, Revolution 1.5 from, once upon a, back in the day. Um, so this kite actually will fly down into full sail territory. If you're really comfortable, you can push it pretty aggressively down into the 3 to 4 mile an hour wind range, but it takes work. This guy will go nearly as far as you are brave. There is a 240, so there is a more vented kite after this. So I guess at some point maybe I'll add 100 or 240 just because then I'll have the set. They are signed by Kath and Elliot, and they are in this wonderful monochrome and single wing Reuben, which again very reminiscent of like my white label spurs from Canvas and my dad's and my pair set of Buena Vista catalysts and sonics, which have all been in previous videos. This one here is in P300, the new. Let me grab sticks. I'm gonna grab sticks. So this is the updated P300. We are back to unsanded tubes, so you can see the saran wrap ridges from the tube wrapping process. Um, gonna really up consistency and decrease the amount of blems that Sky Shark has to contend with. So I'm really stoked for them that this was an option and they went back to it. And then the 40% is in some last generation P1X. So that previous segment, you saw the new generation PX400. So this is the old 1X. Great stick. I believe this is the same frame that's in my 75. I'm pretty sure I have ones in the 75 and twos in the 135. It might be twos and threes. Now I don't remember and I have to go look. But it's a good progression. This stick is nice and light. It's similar weight to the P100s. So, again, when the wind goes light, even though this isn't a solid sail, it'll act solid saily for me. God, I love Reuben. Fun fact, no two kites are ever quite the same, even when they are the same. Elliot makes sure that the kites are not quite the same. So these guys, because they're different venting and everything, they have this same layout and the same compass rose. But if you go look at my other two, you'll actually find the compass roses are offset. I believe they're the opposite, the major points and minors. So that's fun. French bridles. I'm a big French bridle guy. Think of it as a turbo bridle for quad. I really like what it does to the way the kite drives. And then you can see me playing with these little APAs on here. These are for the magic sticks. I do need to get some stops on these because floppy. They are supposed to sit 12 inches off the top. And right now they sit wherever they feel like, which, suboptimal. But again, just need to go grab some donuts or heat shrink and get them located, and all will be right with the world. Shook meshes. Standard. So these are standard 93-inch leading edge quads. Yeah. I love the attention to detail. Elliot is so meticulous. I don't know if meticulous is the word he would choose, but everything, just alignment, fit, and finish is all so nice. The Billy Clock style weave is so cool. Really, really gets these like the half tones because the white and the gray playing with each other. And one of the fun things that I don't think people realize is it's not sewn on all four sides of the crossover. So you can see that's open. That direction is not. And then it, again, open, not. So that's that Billy Clock style weave. There are other people doing woven kites out there, but to my knowledge, Elliot is the only one doing Billy style in boutique production. So super cool. They're wonderful. The die cut holes on the leading edge instead of the mesh. Everything just wears super well. I was thrilled with my first two. I've flown both of these now. I'm equally in love. Feature video coming up with this guy very soon. And if you watch the channel regularly, you've seen this one already in action from the Niagara Festival. So, new quads. Again, sit tight because I'm going to put these guys away and go get the last two kites for this video. And so we come to our last two for this little quad line romp. I have added two more Fulcrums to the collection. For those of you who may be new to the channel or aren't familiar, the Fulcrum is a quad kite designed by Carl Robertshaw with John Trenopole. It's a really interesting kite. It's not flat. It's under high tension. These are not right now, just to make them easier to view on the screen, but normally there's two standoffs in the middle here, two standoffs behind the big keels that give it some depth and shape, and because of that, it flies. It does dual line and quad line things, which is really super cool. It'll do yo-yos and flick-flacks and 540s and lazy Susans and all sorts of stuff. Josh Mitchison is actually doing comets. Wrap your head around that one, because I sure can't. Anyway, my set is made by Remlel. Remlel makes the European customs. I Remlel has access to dead acrylics colors and other materials. So you may recall, if you've been a long-time watcher and saw the video where the first three showed up, my SUL is Cuban, where this one is white, to drop weight out of it. And it's really a remarkable kite. We actually, Carl and I flew our SULs together. His is Mylar. Mine is Cuban. He actually likes my Cuban sail better. I liked his frame better. So since that video, the center section of my SUL got replaced from a 4X to a 400 Pro, a Skyshark 400 Pro. A little bit more mass, much stiffer center section. Just helps the kite sort of do its things. Which brings us to these two. Because the Cuban SUL with the weird center section wasn't off menu enough, I had to be extra, extra. And so what we have here is a dedicated ultralight. Normally, the Fulcrums, there's an SUL, a UL/standard, comes with two center sections, two sets of outer spreaders, and all the uprights are the same. And then there's a vent. I wanted a dedicated UL, so I wasn't flipping frames back and forth. If, wind conditions were right on the edge, I wanted to be able to have both set up. One of the other advantages to doing that is I got to switch to Carl's personal setup frame that he likes a little better than what went into production. There's durability reasons why the frame that went into production is in production, and it's a great UL frame. I flew it for the hatchling. I've flown it a bunch while I was waiting for this kite, but I do like the way Carl has his kite set up, and so I went and took the opportunity to do that because, again, with Remel having been kite making for as long as he he also has AAU. Kites are not cat toys, little fuzzy one. He's adorable, but he's a menace. Any rate, the center section in this kite is an 8P. Remlel, in addition to having, the Reuben and the Plum, had some old carbon stashed away from, I think, at one point, Atelier masks were available in an 8P frame, which would have been just monstrous and kind of cool. So this is an 8P center section. I do actually have a couple of spares. I got the last two that John and Marianne had in their back room, so that was really awesome. And then the outboards, because 8P is a 6mm ferrule, unlike the Ultralight outboards that are on the the more standard frame, uses 5PTs. So there goes my lens cap. Fuzzy little menace. This is not actually a kite video. This is a cat video, as you may have noticed. Anyway, up here we have the super vent. I will put a picture of the vent, the regular vent, up with this at some point in this, and just sort of overlay it while I'm babbling here. But this is a normal vent and standard frame. So it is the XLS center section, which you can think of as effectively a straight nitro strong tube, untapered. And then out here we have Nitro Strongs. These are also the new unsanded Nitro Strongs. Again, we were talking about earlier in the video. John and Marianne at Kites and Fun Things, Skyburner, Skyshark. Skyshark is shifting back to unsanded tubes. It's going to cut down on blems for them and improve consistency for all of us, which are all great things. So really stoked to see those. And just all of the mesh. So we are now, it's funny because I used to joke that if it was blowing hard enough for super vents, I'd be in a bar. And now I find myself where, show must go on. So I added a bunch of super vents. So here we are. And of course, more Reuben and some Plum, which, shows up a lot in my Carl related kites. These are the same colors as my Fury 8.5, and my standard vent and super vented Furies are each one of those colors. And I'm pretty well set on Fulcrums now. I mean, at some point maybe I'll add an 8.5 because they are fun to throw around the smaller kite. You just got an earthquake thanks to the cat. But hey. Any rate. And now the dog's here. Which I think means it's time to wrap this up. Guys, thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing. As always, this channel exists because you guys support it, and we've built this awesome community. And I'm so thankful to all of you and for all of that. And we will see you out there, Skyrider.